From darkest dungeon to brutal battlefield, I have faithfully carried holy light. I also abandoned any desire for well-being as I carried out my sacred charge in that most ruinous and unholy of places. LFR. Forsake all hope, ye who enter here. Light have mercy. I've been jotting my thoughts down while I've been leveling, dungeoning, gearing, PvPing, raiding, whatever. And I just want you to know that this is coming from someone who's really dedicated some time, and I spent some time in the expansion, and not with my group or, you know, with my chat helping me out, but just out there as the everyman, pugging it out, getting blown up in Mythic like the rest of you. And I just want to give my opinions. Before I start, let's just lay a foundation. First off, I want to avoid the WoW is awesome, WoW sucks cycle. I think things are a little more nuanced than that. I know we're at the launch of an expansion, so it's going to be WoW's awesome, WoW's back, subs are up, whatever, and in 3 or 4 months, it's what went wrong. Here's what's wrong with the War Within and all that. Okay, so let's just avoid all that. Let's just state the facts very clearly. Across the board, it seems that World of Warcraft metrics are up and engagement is up when you consider the entire portfolio of the World of Warcraft offerings, okay? Especially when you account for the launch of Wrath Classic in China. Seems to be blowing up, and there seems to be millions, according to the Warcraft logs people, just a ton of engagement over there. And so it could be very true that World of Warcraft numbers across the board are up and soaring and doing great. Outstanding. Nothing wrong with that. Keep riding the coattails of the old devs. And it's a brilliant thing. To repackage old WoW and sell it again, brilliant. Sell it to as many people as you can. This whole WoW is dying and WoW is dead, that's ridiculous. But when it comes to the War Within, the lack of curiosity is killing me. I feel like I'm going insane. Because I've watched interview after interview with content creators talking about everything from delves to just everything that you can, but no one will ask them, did it sell well? Now, you'll remember, despite what the WoW subreddit will tell you, that Dragonflight, as popular as some people thought it was, actually wasn't that popular and did not sell well by Blizzard's own admission. You'll also know that historically, when Blizzard games are selling well, they broadcast it across the entire internet. When Diablo 4 pre-orders were through the roof, there wasn't one place you could go on the internet where you didn't see a Diablo 4 ad that said, fastest selling PC game of all time. That was everywhere. Good for them. But when it comes to the War Within, mum's the word. And not only is mum's the word from Blizzard, but the content creators, interview after interview, and no one will ask them, did this sell well? I think a lot of gamers spend a lot of time with themselves, and so when you hear them talk, whether it's just in general or comments on YouTube, they're going to say, well, I like it. I don't think that that's true because I like it. Well, you liking it is awesome, and I'm glad that you like it. But what's the truth? Did it sell well? And they just keep talking all this big game. This is setting the stage for the next 20 years of retail. This is going to be the new era of Warcraft. Awesome. That sounds great. Is it? How did it sell? The modern development team for World of Warcraft, what they have to do is they have to ride the coattails of the old development team to get the sub numbers up to where retail used to be by itself. Retail used to draw this level of people by itself. And now you got to repackage every version of Warcraft and a hardcore and a SOD and everything to get the numbers back to where retail used to dominate by itself. And people come in and say, well, that's just the way it is now. But is that true? Because from my perspective, the number one problem in retail is that it doesn't bring in new players. They've done an excellent job of collecting a bunch of people, of which I'm one, so I'm not above it, who will repeat the same content over and over and over again for incremental gear increases. Okay, that's retail WoW's endgame, and I'm here for it. Okay, I'm in on it. I love it. I think there's nothing like doing dungeons in World of Warcraft. I think it's a uniquely fun experience. And the reality is I do the same. You know, I've been playing Battlefield 4 for 10 years or whatever, 12 years. Same maps, same guns. I still go in there and blow shit up. I like it. Doing the same thing over and over is kind of gaming in general. It's just about what you prefer to do. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not bagging people. I'm just saying that's the nature of it. But I think that has a very limited appeal, especially since they've abandoned, in my opinion, all sense of immersion and community in support of the great Mythic Plus god. And that's fine. That's great. And if that's the new direction of WoW and you're setting the stage and you've got all this ambition and you're pitching all this shit, fine. But when the rubber meets the road, how did this sell? I get that across the board. It's doing great in China, and classic modes have pulled up your sub numbers. That's outstanding. I want WoW to succeed. I want it to crush. I want retail WoW to crush. But did it? And the lack of curiosity and honesty in this area just drives me insane. Makes me feel schizophrenic. I feel like am I the only one on the internet, Oklahoma gang? None of you guys are at all curious. Did it sell well? And the silence isn't deafening to you? I mean, the silence is shocking to me because I know if it was selling like hotcakes, historically, they're the first to tell you. Well, here we are again with the war within and everybody's talking it up. All this great stuff about it. Outstanding. How did it sell? And apparently I'm the only one concerned about it. So here's the bounty I'm offering. 2 whole shiny quarters to the first person that can get me some sales numbers. I mean, I'm desperate because apparently no one with all this access and insider information gives a damn. But to me, that's going to be a huge indicator. And again, it's coming from the perspective of the number one problem with retail WoW is that it's not grabbing new players. And it's not even grabbing old World of Warcraft players. See, the retail community likes to do this trick when people complain about retail. Like, if you don't like it, go play Classic. Well, guess what? They do. And then they don't come back. And slowly over time, your community dwindles when you treat people that way. If you want to bring new people in, you might have to start listening to them. Or maybe you just keep doing what you're doing and you crushed. Did you? Time will tell. From the top, I just want to state, even if you're not going to play the War Within for the whole expansion, you will get your money's worth by buying it and playing it for a month. You will most certainly get your money's worth. It did a lot of things right, and it most certainly built upon the strengths of Dragonflight. The leveling, I did it all. I wiped the map. I did the side quest, the main quest, all the little theater shit. Beautiful zones. From the Isle of Dorne to the Ringing Deeps, oh, and dearly beloved Hallow Fall. Every time I go to Hallow Fall, I find myself staring at Belladar for like 15 minutes. I mean, you guys know me. You know my content. I love to just stroll around in the content and run around. And it's always a privilege and an honor to be able to roll around in Blizzard art. Their art team is without peer. I don't know any MMO that builds zones like the Blizzard art team. And if I could ever get my hands on them, I'll just kidnap them all and put them in a basement and just make them make worlds for me that I could run around in. That's what I think I'm going to do that. Actually, don't tell them. But the zones are outstandingly gorgeous. And I got to say, the pacing is nice. You move through it easy, you get a few quests here, and it just moves you through the zone rather than just, going here and there and all over and back and forth. It's a very nice pace through the zone, pushes you around from the side quest to the main quest, to moves you through the whole zone and into the next one with a very nice flow. And again, I want to talk about real quick how epic Hallowfall is and Belladar. Are you kidding me? Just incredible. Incredible. Are you kidding me with this? Is this amazing? When have you seen this? This is like something you see in The Witcher or, Skyrim. I mean, this is one of those gaming moments to me that's just like, wow. Wow, look at that. Are you kidding me? That's incredible. And when it shifts into purple in the whole zone, are you kidding me? Bravo. /clap/cheer. Drop my Alliance flag for the Alliance, for the Blizzard art team. Somebody needs to throw the art team a massive party. And I'm not talking about some corporate party with pizza and shit. You can let Broklahoma come in there. We're going to get the booze, the blow, the hookers. We're going to do it right. Just outstanding job, Blizzard art team. Are you kidding me with this thing? Isn't this incredible? Unreal. Delves. Delves are good. I mean, we get it, right? The whole point of retail is to get your character leveled up as quickly as possible and get on a gear treadmill. Now you create a gear treadmill for casual players. It makes sense. That's what retail's all about. Does it actually draw a bunch of new players? Does this feature really as enticing as they pitched it? Well, they won't tell us, so we don't know. But they're good. I said it was going to be Torghast in a cave. It's a lot like Torghast in a cave. You pick your powers. You pick your powers for Bran. You head in there. The scaling's all borked right now. Well, that just is what it is. They'll get it ironed out. It'll be fine over time. It is kind of weird that with a beta, a early access launch, and 3 weeks into launch, we're still having these issues, but this is modern WoW now. It's kick it out the door, get it going, we'll fix it as we go. And that's just the way it works. That's a lot of games. That's not just Blizzard. So it is what it is. They'll get it ironed out. I'm not going to get too worked up about that, but I think it's a nice addition. I think it's nice not only for solo players, but it's nice for people who are currently solo, right? You're waiting for your team to log on. You're waiting for your guildies to get on. You got something you can do, have some fun, blow some shit up, which is always fun in World of Warcraft. No one makes blowing stuff up better than World of Warcraft. I mean, it feels, the controls and the dynamics and the spells going off are just uniquely awesome in World of Warcraft. Even when you compare it to other MMOs, no one touches it. And I would say the same thing about hero talents. I know they were kind of hit or miss, but on Paladins, they hit. Oh my God. From the Templar Retribution, where I'm just dropping hammer bombs on people. Oh, maybe it makes me start sweating. I get so excited. And then you've got Templar of the Sun for Holy and, Ret 2. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And there's some great changes coming. It's one of the reasons I haven't put my Pally guide out yet, because they're about to change a whole bunch about it. So I'll just wait until they get it tuned up where they think it's set. And then finally on the positives, I would say for leveling and everything, just the dungeons. Can we just seriously take a moment and talk about dungeons in World of Warcraft? Is there any MMO out there that even touches how awesome and how fluid and amazing and the possibilities and the look of the dungeon, the art? Is there anyone that even touches the World of Warcraft? No, that's the answer. Hell, even the classic WoW dungeons are better than half of the new shit that's coming out. These new MMOs, they can't even touch it. These dungeons are great. They're really not too long, but they're fun. You get in there, you blast them out, you get your gear, and it's just amazing. And there's something about that team dynamic. And people are like, how can you run the same dungeon over and over again? It's fun. That's the answer. It's fun to do. It's a very fun team exercise, and everybody bringing all their spells and abilities together to get things done is incredible. And so I want to be very clear, and I wanted to start with the positives because I think there are a ton of positives. It built on the strengths of Dragonflight. The zones are beautiful. They've got the dragon riding. I mean, hell, they've got the dragon riding quest that they just copy pasted the NPCs, and now you got new circles to fly through. And people love it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Do the stuff that people like. They added Warbands, which if you know anything about retail isn't about having immersion. All the classes have basically the same abilities. Everybody can heal. Everybody has multiple forms of CC. Everybody has multiple defensives. The real thing in retail is the flavor, right? So holy paladins have holy flavored spells and monks have monks flavored spells, but they all pretty much have a lot of the same abilities now. There really aren't strengths and weaknesses because, again, this whole game is designed to the Mythic Plus god. And so everybody has to have a lot of the same cooldowns and be able to AoE and single target and have defensives and be, everybody has to have all of that stuff so that they're somewhat viable. There's always a meta, but there's all somewhat viable in Mythic Plus because that's what retail is dedicated to. There's pros to that decision and there's cons. One of the pros is, though, that even though everybody kind of has a lot of the same stuff, they do a good job of differentiating the flavoring. It feels different to play a warlock than it does a paladin, and the spells look different and everything. And even if there's a lot of overlap, and it's just the amount of self-healing that everyone has now is insane. Although with the amount of damage going out, let's just be honest, they didn't really fix that so well. It's probably for the best. When you factor in the art and the zones and the leveling and the pace and the dungeons and the delves, I think go in a pro column. Warbands, incredible addition to retail. If you know anything about retail, it's not about having immersion or the leveling experience. It's an interesting concept, but everybody in retail is actually in a big hurry. And because it's so easy to level and fluid, people usually in retail have several ults or a few ults at least. And so warbands were a perfect addition. I mean, they really were. I don't have any ults. There's my warband right here. I'm a one-man warband. But there are people that love their alts, and so it was a perfect addition. Making more things account-wide from reputation and even now a little bit of gear to help you get your alts up and running is a brilliant addition to the retail community because the retail community does not give a damn about immersion or the world or the experience. It has nothing to do with being a paladin and experiencing things as a paladin in the World of Warcraft. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you play a monk, a paladin, a warlock, whatever. You're going to do the same quest. You're going to get the same quest text. You're going to interact in the world for all intents and purposes, the exact same. It's just whatever flavor you're on. It's like going to the ice cream shop, right? It's all ice cream. It's just which flavor do you want? Okay, so that's retail. And the whole point is just to get up as high as you can and get to Mythic Plusing or get on a gear treadmill. If you're a casual player, that's fine. Now you've got delves. There you go. And that's the entire future, apparently, and the 20-year future is what they're pitching it. This is the future of WoW. They're saying it, not me. This is the future of retail. So we are dedicated now. And the Mythic Plus God shall be pleased. Well, Oklahoma, it sounds like you're having a pretty good time and you really like a lot about it. What's up with the 6 out of 10? Well, like I said, there's some strengths, but the weaknesses are all the same. So if you've played retail at all, you know the formula. And War Within is strict to the retail formula. You build a new island randomly that we've never seen on the map before. You plug in a bunch of new factions that we've never heard of before. And then you give an overarching theme with some old god or titan or monster, the Shaw, whatever it is, where there's some now existential crisis out of nowhere. And you'll know from expansions past that these very powerful old god ultimate deities don't just come out and attack Azeroth and try to destroy everything. No, that would be too easy. They have this very sinister and overly elaborate plan that we have to slowly over 2 years unravel before we can actually just fight them. So it is what it is. It's the same shit every time. Okay, you can swap out the story and the characters, and rest in peace to my girl Sylvanas. What they did to my beautiful Sylvanas will never be forgiven. They ruined this character. She was a dream. Oh, Dark Lady, what they did to my girl makes me sick. But this is the same thing, okay? Just swap out the characters, and yes, it's a new story, and they're very proud of themselves for it. I know a lot of you retail players will disagree with me on this, but I come from a place where you used to just fight the Horde. Yeah, the Alliance and the Horde just used to be the big thing. Now it's always some old god, mega god, titan shit on a new island somewhere. Literally, we've done this 5-6 times now. I mean, it's just, we've done it, guys. I've done the new island. I've done the sinister plan to ruin the world. I got it, okay? And yes, the cinematics are awesome, and the characters are cool, and the raids are cool, but I've done it. So you'll forgive me if I don't just leap at this story that's been done over and over again, like it's some new hot thing. I'm just like, are you guys kidding me right now? How many times have we had this same story play out? We know. And now they're going to really drag this one out over 3 expansions, so there's going to be some ups and downs, but we know how it goes. The Earthens suck. I don't know what this is all about, but I just think they're awful. And the fact that they're Horde dwarves now just makes me want to fucking puke. I don't know if y'all will agree with me on this, but the game feels like a single-player game now. I'm not even saying that that's bad. I mean, I definitely see other players in the world. So when people say the world is dead, it's not dead. I mean, I technically do see other people playing, but they may as well be NPCs. I mean, there is no interactions like you used to have in the World of Warcraft because no one's waiting at the Zeppelin anymore. Everybody is literally zipping around as quickly as possible doing their daily chores or whatever. And it feels like a single player game. I mean, there's other players in the game and I see them, and it most certainly has multiplayer modes. But you know how it is. You hop in a group, you say, hi, thank you for the invite. You guys do the dungeon, and then it's GG at the end, and you're out. Now, I think a lot of this has to do with Discord and just modern gaming in general. I don't think it's, I think there's a lot more people in chat and talking to their friends or whatever, so they're not as engaged with the community in the game, but it kind of sucks, and it's kind of sad to me. But this feels like when you're leveling, to me, it feels single player. I mean, I see other players. I'm not saying it is single player, but I'm just saying it may as well be. And to test this theory, I even tried to engage people. Like I'd say, hey guys, what's going on when I went into town? And I'd say, how's everybody doing? I would wave at people, salute them, put a freedom on them. I'd go hit what they were hitting. I'd invite them to party. And I mean, people are just buttoned up now. A lot of this is because of Discord and things like that. I also think a lot of gamers are introverts by nature. A lot of my friends that are big into gaming are introverts. So maybe they're just not looking to be bothered. It is what it is. But I do remember a time when you would just interact with random players. As a matter of fact, I have lifelong friends from those interactions, and those are gone now. I do think introversion and Discord have their say, But those were things, I mean, we had TeamSpeak back in the day. I do want to say, I think some of that is in the design of the game. Things like flying. The retail community loves their flying. God, you guys get so upset when I mention it, but it has a cost. It has a cost. And if you're not willing to admit that, I don't know what to say. But a lot of those great interactions, and some of those interactions for me led to lifelong friends. So, you guys are quick to dismiss them as, it's no big deal, who cares? Well, I have lifelong friends because of some of those interactions at the Zeppelin or the flight path, or we teamed up to do a quest. And the world is so easy. You can just go around and blow everything up. You really don't need other players. And if you do, you just use them for a few minutes. No one really says shit, and you're on with your life. Sure, like I said, some of that has to do with just modern gaming and personalities, but all that was true back when you used to have a lot more interactions. I do think some of it is in the design of the game. And so to me, that's a con. When it comes to gearing, here's the gearing guide. And it's just, this is completely overcomplicated. I don't think it's too complicated. It's pretty easy to understand, especially when you get charts like this. You can break it down and you can understand it. I just think it does not need to be this. And this is what I'm talking about in retail. This appeals to a certain type of player, but I don't know that this kind of stuff is drawing in new players. And if you're a new player and you take a look at this, you're like, F that. A lot of people are. People say, if you don't like it, go play Classic. Well, we talked about that. And I can just speak right now. That whole, we're going to make less one-shots and we're going to make things less bursty. Yeah, that didn't work. Shit is blowing up everywhere now. As people get better at the game and they're standing in less stuff, it may get a little better, but there's most certainly still a lot of one-shots going on. And the AoE boom boom that's going out is incredible. And it just, honestly, it feels harder to fill up health bars. And Paladins feel pretty strong. I mean, I'm not really struggling, but I don't know that I would say that it's a lot of fun. There's times when you're just in a straight panic. So that whole, we're making it better, I don't know. But when it comes to gearing, this is what it looks like to gear in retail WoW. And there's people that are completely fine with this. I think this hurts you. I do. If you can get past your own personal opinion or my personal opinion, who cares what we think? We're already bought the game. We're in it. But if you're a new player coming in, which again is, I think, the big retail flaw right now, this is completely overcomplicated. It's just overcomplicated. Same with professions. You don't need all that shit for people to engage in professions. And whoever you're appealing to with that kind of development, I don't know that that's your big issue. I think those people are probably going to play no matter what you do. I think you might want to focus on bringing in new people. Maybe you did. You won't tell us. But I just think when you look at a chart like this, this is ridiculous. When it comes to PvP, we can actually do a little number comparison here, which is kind of fun, because I went back and looked up some of my own videos. So here you'll see on this Drusfar website, according to them, approximately, and these aren't going to be perfect, but it's all we have, the 24,002 lobbies. So 24,000 lobbies played in the last 72 hours of Solo Shuffle. In Season 2, I had a video where I looked at these same numbers in Season 2 of Dragonflight. So March 30th of 2023, this number was 15,000. So on the launch, at the pinnacle of participation, you've added about 9,000 lobbies compared to Dragonflight Season 2. The thing that's always difficult with PvP participation is just like Mythic Plus participation, is that if you're talking about people that play WoW PvP, you are talking about a dedicated community, because to be fair, it's a very dead community in a lot of ways. It's not completely dead, but it's most certainly not thriving. And you've got in here an extremely hardcore group, and they love WoW PvP like nothing else. And they literally don't stop doing it. So you take this 24,000 number and you multiply it times 6, and you get up, what is that? Something like 145, 44, and some is 140,000 some. Okay, but when you extrapolate out all of the Twitchies and alts, I mean, there's guys in PvP that have 3, 4 of the same class. And then they have multiple classes. I mean, there's literally guys in PvP, because it takes no time to gear and it takes no time to level. They have 5, 6, 7 alts. It's not uncommon at all. At all. People like to say, I don't think most people have that many alts. I don't know that they all have that many, but there's a lot of them that do. I mean, they'll have 3 or 4 of the same class. Let's just take that 140,000 and cut it in half, which I think is a gross underestimation of the PvP community. As someone who's been a part of it since the beginning, most of the people I know that PvP, I mean, I am most certainly the exception with one tune. But just to be safe, let's just cut that 144 in half. So you have 70,000 participants if you cut that number in half in solo shuffle, around there. If everybody has one alt. And that'll give you some insight into the community. Compare this to Mythic Plus numbers where you have some like 3.5, 4 million runs typically. But remember, we've got the new rated mode, Battleground Blitz. Now, let's be honest, a lot of the people that are solo shuffling are also blitzing, and they're just queuing for both up at a time. Probably makes the queue pretty nice. I've heard some people say that they queue up their solo shuffle. By the time they're out of blitz, their solo shuffle pops. They get back out, they queue them both up again. So they're not sitting in queue as much because there's different game modes. But this is a lot of the same players. A lot of the people that are doing solo shuffle are also doing blitz. And over the last 72 hours, according to this website, I'm just going off of these metrics. I don't know how accurate they are, but they're at least something. We have almost 10,000 games played, 12 players, 120,000. A lot of them, it's the same players that are solo shuffling. And when you start extracting out the alts and the twitchies, one of you clever bastards put a comment in one of my PvP videos that said, WoW PvP is 20,000 players on their 5 alts. Whoever said that, my God, I think you might be a prophet. If these numbers are true, then two things need to happen. Number one, I need to formally apologize for all the PvP content that I've put out. So I'm sorry for having wasted your time, and I promise to do better in the future. And to be completely honest, these numbers are just heartbreaking to me. Can I say that? They're just heartbreaking to me because I think WoW PvP is uniquely awesome. And I haven't even touched it right now because look at the balance. I mean, this is just PvP in a nutshell. There's 2 healers, Discipline Priest, and Preservation Evokers. I mean, there's 193 priests above 1,800 and 32 Holy Pallies. And some of these Holy Pallies are the same Holy Pally on multiple Holy Pallies. And a lot of these guys have PvP'd their ass off. I mean, they are really good at PvP, so they can make it work better than most people can. But if you really want to heal in solo shuffle, you need to be on a Discipline Priest. And you can see that there's just this and this happens in Mythic Plus, and every competitive mode, there's just this meta that forms and people just jump on the bandwagon because a lot of people have played this game for 20 years and a lot of these classes are plug and play now. The war within PvP is awful, and I don't care what people say. I watched a Warlock go into a room with a lobby with 2 DKs, and he got double gripped, double stunned, asphyxiated. It looked awful. I mean, casters don't cast anymore. The melee classes have 60 different grips, stun, silences from 40-yard range, so they don't even melee anymore. I mean, they have 40-yard stuns, 2 charges of charge, a leap. Casters are just hopping around, insta-casting everywhere. What WoW PvP used to be was awesome when classes had real strengths and weaknesses. Now everybody has a ton of defenses, a ton of cooldowns, a ton of mobility, 3 or 4 different forms of CC, and that all goes on the healer or one of the players. And it's awful. It does not feel good. And you can see that. Well, that's why the community is just, this is it. This is the peak of the expansion. And look at these numbers. It's awful. Now, I think it's fair to say to Blizzard that they really don't need to balance PvP that much. I wouldn't do it. I don't know under why. You're not getting any participation. That's nothing. Compared to the PvE side of the game, it's fraction of the community. And they haven't cared about PvP for a long time. But I've made some amazing lifelong friends through World of Warcraft PvP. And I remember a time when it was really fantastic. Obviously, there's a group of people, a very dedicated and small group of people that absolutely love it, and they're going to tell you, get good. But people won't get good. They'll go play another game. I play a lot of PvP games. I love the PvP, but there's too much shit going off everywhere, and in my opinion, it's really just not that fun. I think it's as bad as it's ever been. It's sad. It's really sad to me because WoW PvP is uniquely awesome. And I have some of my best gaming memories are from WoW PvP. But boy, it's awful now. And I would not suggest anyone do it. At least if you're going to, do like I'm doing and just wait till there's a balance pass or 2. Because things are just completely borked right now. People will tell you get good and all that. But you're just going to queue into guys. There's especially right now, a lot of these guys that play this full time are at the 1,800, 2K bracket. Let them go ahead and climb and get up where they belong. and then you come in behind them once there's a balance pass or two, and things are a lot easier. But I do apologize for the PvP content. It will not happen again. And so in summary, I'll just say the War Within is the good old retail formula. You have a new island, new zones, you reset the gear treadmill, and everybody burst on through there and they get on it. And that's it. And then, of course, it got this overarching story with this huge bad guy that the Horde and Alliance have to come together to stop from ruining the world. Yes, it's beautiful. Yes, the system's overcomplicated, I think, but they're there. And it is a lot of fun. And there's nothing quite like doing WoW content. No one does it like Blizzard does. But it's the same old retail content with the same old story and the new island and all. I mean, it's got some real pros. And it's got all the same cons. I mean, this is the retail formula now, and we've done it a few times. And so you'll forgive me if I'm not jumping up and down, but it's fun. And you'll get your money's worth out of playing this, and you'll have a good time, because I am. But it's not some state-of-the-art evolution of WoW. This is the good old retail formula, packaged up pretty and shiny, and a brand new story, and those beautiful cinematics. And here we go again. If you love Dragonflight and you like retail and you like doing the things in retail, you're going to have a good time in the War Within. But I'm not sure that this at all addresses what I consider to be the number one issue, which is bringing people back into retail. So maybe that doesn't matter as much anymore, but it matters to me. And I'm hoping that it did great. We'll have to wait and see. Until we find out, keep having fun. I'll see y'all out there. Oklahoma out.
Yeah!